Hey everyone, this is graphic designer Roberto Blake, and today I'm going to be talking about the tools, gear, and hardware you need as a graphic designer. If you're new to the channel, don't forget new graphic design videos are usually released on Mondays, so go ahead and subscribe to get everything. So you want to be a graphic designer and you don't know what tools and hardware you need in order to do that. Well, I'm going to help you out in this video. One of the first things you need as a graphic designer besides a computer, which is fairly obvious, and the software for graphic design, which I cover in a whole nother video, is you need some actual basic general supplies and tools to get started. One of the things you're going to want to definitely have is a sketchbook. The sketchbook's going to allow you, even if you don't have any artistic ability, to just get your ideas out of your head and conceptualize. This is an important part of the research you do before you do any graphic design project, whether it's for school or whether it's for clients. You need to be sketching things out or writing things down. So you're going to need sketchbooks. I recommend getting a graph composition notebook like this one here. So you're going to want to get those three things. You're obviously going to need pens and paper. I recommend using mechanical pencils. They're just going to feel a lot better for you and they're going to save you a lot of trouble. If you can, get Alvin Draftmatic pencils. They are wonderful, especially if you're doing a bunch of illustration and logo design work. You're going to thank me for that. There's a reason that professional drafters and CAD people use them. You may or may not need an X-Acto knife. I actually haven't used one in years, and there's a reason for that. It's only when I needed to do some trimming on things I was printing out to put on foam core for presentations, but most people don't present in that way anymore, and most people don't expect you to. You're usually going to be presenting on a digital device or a portfolio book, so I wouldn't really worry about it aside from for school projects or personal crafting projects. But if you're going to get one, go ahead and get an X-Acto knife kit. Get replacement blades. They're usually not that expensive. You can usually pick up something for like, as little as 10 bucks or 15 bucks. That's pretty reasonable. One of the things people don't talk about, and I will do a whole separate video on, a bunch of different recommendations for these, is printers. As a graphic designer, you're probably going to want to have a good printer. I recommend a printer, scanner, copier, fax combo, an all-in-one, so that when you do sketches in your notebooks, grid books, or your sketchbooks, what have you, that you can go ahead and scan it into a computer. If not, you can definitely use your smartphone, something else I recommend that you have, and you can get it that way and then do any tracing or reference that you need. But having a scanner is going to save you a lot of trouble. Also, that's going to help with certain things when you want to send them to clients or when you need to print things out or fax back forms, contracts, NDAs, that sort of thing. So that's going to be extraordinarily useful to you. Try and make sure you get something like an HP or an Epson or a Canon printer. Again, I'll do recommendations in a whole nother video, but just make sure you have a good quality printer. Usually you can get something relatively decent for under 100 bucks. If you can afford it, go ahead and get a wide format printer as well. And the reason for that is you might want to do some test prints on higher end projects, especially if you're doing poster design for musicians or anything to do with entertainment. Those projects can get very expensive. You're probably going to be paid enough to where you can invest in the printing and the ink. So go ahead and make sure you're testing these things out before you send a final copy to a client. All right, so let's talk about thumb drives and external drives. Thumb drives are something that no designer should be without. You should be using USB thumb drives to have backups of active projects on you all the time and not just rely on the cloud. You can get a couple of gigs worth of thumb drives relatively cheap today. I'll have some links in the description below so that you can go ahead and find some of this stuff, but you should have something like an 8 gig thumb drive on you at all times that has whatever your active projects are, and 8 gigs should be more than enough for that. If you want to go higher, maybe you want to do like something that's above 20 gigs. That way you have the equivalent of what you would have using Adobe Creative Cloud, so that you have that on you as well as a backup of everything that you do have in the cloud. So that's definitely an option. In addition to that, you should also have external hard drives and backup hard drives. My recommendation personally is that you have a hard drive with double the capacity of whatever computer you're using and for each one of your computers. So if you have a desktop and a laptop, you should have a backup drive just for your desktop and one just for your laptop, and they should have a minimum of double the capacity of the hard drive or hard drives for those computers. And the reason why is so that you can back up everything you need and still have additional storage space for assets and things that you don't necessarily want to keep on your computer, and so you can archive your old projects and have a repository. The other thing you're going to want to do is do physical backups to some kind of media like DVD or Blu-ray. Blu-ray players and Blu-ray burners are relatively cheap now, so I recommend doing those just because you can put a higher volume of storage on them, and that might save you some money in the long run. And it might be really useful if you're doing anything with a DSLR camera, just to be able to back up and archive your RAW files that way. As a graphic designer, it might be very useful for you to have a decent camera. That might be an advanced point and shoot, that might be a DSLR. I recommend getting just something a little better than your camera phone. Even if you have an iPhone, which is fantastic, I still recommend that you either get an advanced point and shoot, or a DSLR. As a graphic designer, this is going to be very useful for you getting reference photos and also photographing some of your print work and samples for your portfolio book, and you just never know when it'll come in handy. So definitely pick one of those up. Again, links will be in the description below. So as for computers, I've already done an extensive video on the best laptops for graphic design and Photoshop, and also recommendations on what you should shop for in terms of a regular PC or what have you, or a Mac with that. But I'll do some more videos that are very specific to those things because I haven't done a desktop video for graphic design. The bottom line is get the best computer that you can afford at the time and make sure that you're prioritizing the RAM and the processors. You don't need to prioritize the graphics card, even though this is called graphic design. That's more for video editing than anything else. Yes, Photoshop can take advantage of the GPU. The odds are you're probably not using a feature that is going to need that unless you're doing anything involving 3D typography, 3D live painting, or advanced features in the Liquify filter for photo manipulation, etc. Again, odds are you're probably not using it. While this is not technically gear, one thing no graphic designer should be without is an awesome music playlist. I cannot stress that enough. Personally, I use Amazon Prime's, since I have that for my all my other stuff. I use their music to get a bunch of streaming. I also bought a bunch of stuff in Amazon, some stuff from iTunes back when I had my iPod, before that was stolen from me. You know, just different things like that. Great music is going to help you with inspiration and is going to help set the mood and affect the way that you work, so don't skimp on that. The other thing you want to probably do as a graphic designer is have a lot of reference material. There are a ton of books that I recommend that you have that will help you, whether those are technical manuals or whether they're things that will help you with design principles or the approach to business as a designer. So you should definitely have those things. So you should definitely check out my video on best book recommendations for graphic designers because I think you'll actually find it really useful and interesting. One of the other things that I highly recommend as a graphic designer in terms of hardware that you get is a drawing tablet. I recommend Wacom. I always talk about this in my videos, especially when I'm doing tutorial stuff. Wacom tablets save you a ton of time, frustration, and energy, and they're going to save your wrist from carpal tunnel. A Wacom tablet is superior to any mouse that you can buy. So go out and get one. They're relatively affordable. You can get Wacom tablets now, depending on what they are, for around $100 or less. If you want to get a different type of tablet, you're certainly welcome to do that if it's going to save you a couple of bucks, but I recommend Wacom for the investment. Finally, software. In other videos, I talk about graphic design software, both the best overall software as well as the open source stuff. Annotations will be around here somewhere, but the point is, make sure that you have decent graphic design software however you're going to come by it. I recommend Adobe software, gold standard, best in the industry, yada yada. Creative Cloud is cheap and affordable for students and for regular people. I know some of you are going to flame about Creative Cloud, and I'm going to shut you down right now. I did it in another video. I'm going to take the opportunity to do it again. I did the math on this. Creative Cloud, if you break it down to the daily cost, is about $1.66 a day. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video on graphic design gear and hardware. If you want more hardware videos from me, or if you want me to get specific into some of the stuff I talked about, if you want me to get into video graphics cards and recommendations for RAM and stuff like that, let me know that kind of thing in the comment section below. If you have graphic design gear that I did not talk about in this video, make sure that you let us know in the comment section below and share that info as well. Anyway, like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other graphic design videos on the channel. And as always, you guys, thanks for watching.